Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdicus Dave, and tonight we're going to be playing some 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, and I believe we're all playing Nerdarchy created subclasses, so this will be really, really cool. And we have an awesome, amazing, fabulous dungeon master behind the screen for us tonight, figurative screen that is, in Steven Partridge. I'm just going to turn it over to you, and you can introduce your game however you like.
Okay. Well, hi everybody. I'm Stephen Partridge, as Dave said, and we are going to be playing in my homebrew world of Aulmn. This is a noble dark fantasy setting. For those of you who aren't aware, it's a little different from Grimdark. And yeah, we're just going to go ahead and dive right into this and let the players introduce their characters as we go. Also, I will say this, shout out to Syrinscape. We're using Syrinscape, at least for this session, because we like it. It offers like sound effects and all that stuff. It's cool. So we're going to be using that tonight, see how it works. Hopefully the tech keeps up. So the night is not starlit. It's cloudy. There's just a bit of rain. And as you all four sit around your campfire, Senta, you see memories of your former comrade, part of the Order of the Jade Lotus, your order, the order you and your companions have taken up the mantle for to fight back the darkness. Senta told you that she grew up in a mountain village where she cared for children. And it's almost as though you can see her, see them, as she laughs and runs with them. And it just pangs your heart a little bit more that she's dead now. Or Virna, yes. Virna is your companion who is dead now. Yeah, so you see that in your mind. And you sort of come to look around the campfire to see your three other companions. Who do they see when they look at you?
So, Cinta is kind of slight for a dwarf, but that doesn't make her any less sturdy. She has very long fox red hair that she usually keeps pinned back in a braid to keep it out of her face. Like she's got the kind of eyes that don't miss a whole lot and always seems to be ready for trouble. She has gemstones beneath her eyes, both of them. Just these they look black at a glance, but the longer you look at her, the more you can see more colors interspersed throughout them, reds and greens and blues and purples, black opals. And she is sitting cross-legged on probably a stump or something, usually just looking at the flickering flames.
And as you look into those flames, sitting just beyond them is your newest companion, a hulking, shaggy minotaur. Dave, who is Senta sitting across from?
Senta is sitting across from Gortham Mage Killer, affectionately or not so affectionately referred to as the black sheep amongst the other knights. Maybe not so much in this group because it might be hitting a little bit too close to home. Right now, he's hunched down, at the fire with his axe kind of sitting across his knees as he kind of squats down, sitting back on his haunches. It's a massive two-handed axe for a massive figure. White shaggy fur. The light kind of from the fire is highlighting the markings that are all across this fur. They're very strange. They appear to be arcane sigils that seem to be dyed into his fur of azures and crimsons. And every once in a while, they just kind of catch the light of the fire and reflect it oddly in a very unnatural kind of way. Um, you can't tell if it's if it's the markings in the fur, they've been dyed, or perhaps some magical mishap has befalling this minotaur. But it does not look particularly natural. He's got a big set of gray eyes that are kind of reflecting the fire. His muzzle and face and even his knuckles are scarred with previous battles. And he's just sitting there, taking these large huffs, breathing in the night air and the smell of the fire, looking at his companions, some of which with a little distrust, because they are spellcasters, and like most of the Desnans of this realm, he has no love or trust for them, but they help him in accomplishing what he set out to do, and that is to kill mages. So he's willing to work with them for the greater good.
And one such mage also has white fur. Doug, who is your character?
So yes, in contrast to Gortham, Dacitricos's white fur is immaculate despite the rain and the dreariness of the night. Whereas he is Minotaur, Dacitricos is an Eslari or Leonin or lion person in layman's terms. And he is looking up at the cloudy night sky, and his big, huge mane is sort of like all hanging forward and over his eyes, sort of like not like to block some of the rain so he can look up at the sky. He doesn't have much clothes on, but his fur is sort of like woven and braided and sort of like arranged to look like clothing-esque. In a way, it's like functional. And he sort of turns down from the dark sky to look across the fire, and his golden lion-like eyes shine in the dark, and he says, Shagos's light is dim this evening, to his companions.
And sitting across from Dacitricos is the other mage who hears this mumbling. Ted, who is your character?
So I am playing Strawn Graydon. He's human. While he's got some, studded leather on, he's dressed in, varying shades of grays and greens. He's got a staff. He's got a scimitar. But the most important thing is there is this kind of like pale gray and blue lizard that has completely white eyes and red spines all down its back. And at this point in time, as Strawn is kind of looking into the fire and enjoying the sound of the rain sizzling as the drops hit the burning bark, he's feeding little bits of stone to the lizard and coaxing the lizard to spit the stone out and not swallow.
And as the four of you sit around this campfire, I would say probably Strawn, you are the most likely to notice something is just a touch off with Senta. And it's not the weather, and it's not the fact that you guys weren't able to find a cave to take shelter in.
So Strawn would look over to Senta, and at first he would just give her a moment. Like he understands that Senta has her moments, and some things need to be kept private. So he would just give a concerned look, and if after 10, 15 seconds she doesn't open up, he would then inquire. I think you're muted.
All right, sorry about that.
Man, Senta getting in the silent treatment.
Just another ghost in the woods.
A legitimate ghost, because that wouldn't be the first time.
No, not this time. And then there's like a shadow of a smirk there. Like that actually amused her.
Well, do keep your eyes out, and if there's more going on that you wish to discuss, you know that I am here, and we are here.
You always are.
And one of you is lamenting the theft of your tents, but another is lamenting that you've been called to an abbey on the edge of the Gloaming Arbor. That's where you're on your way to at the moment, the Silver Abbey.
Do we know how far away we are?
You'll arrive tomorrow in the mid-morning, is the plan, if you rest here tonight. And you've been called for because they've been struggling with members of the Umber Horde, as it's called, monsters that come up from the underground and terrorize and drag people away, never to be seen again, unless it's their partially eaten remains. Who is lamenting the tents, and who is apprehensive about the new horde that is so many more than the single monsters you've slain thus far?
I think Bezatricos would be lamenting the tents, but not that we're not in a cave, because if there's underground creatures, perhaps it's the Pride looking out for us that we couldn't find a suitable underground place. But it would be nice to have some cover.
And who is lamenting the horde you are likely to face about 24 hours from now?
I cannot wait to see what horrors await us at the Abbey. And from beneath, this is going to be glorious.
I don't know if Strawn would be, worried, but he would definitely be thinking about it. We have encountered and survived, sometimes only barely, some of the threats in the past, some of which still kind of lingers. And as he's kind of thinking, he kind of clutches at his chest for a brief moment.
I'm gonna give him a sidelong look and ask, would it make you feel better if we did some pre-planning? Almost like she read your mind.
Do we have any new information that we didn't have at the campfire last night?
Sadly, no.
There's bandits around, obviously. If somebody stole our tents, I mean, who would do such a thing?
Well, I am used to the elements. The rain does not affect me.
It is nice to be beneath the stars and their glory. Do not worry, friend Strawn. When we encounter these abominations, I will rush in with my axe and I will slay as many as possible.
Well, I will send you some aid if you're willing.
And then quietly in Dwarven, fortunately, he is the hardest one to pick up and carry away.
Well, unfortunately, wolves have the ability to be very helpful in this situation. All we need to do is fashion a sled if need be.
No, I mean by the deep ones.
Oh, wow. Oh,
It is true, I am quite hefty.
The conversation continues into the night, however you choose to define it. And eventually, it comes time for rest, as you will need to set out early in the morning. Experience has taught you that traveling too far away from the road is likely to incur the danger of bandits without aid. But also traveling near the road draws attention with a campfire, especially in this dark, vaguely rainy weather.
I'm going to get a small little silver bowl that's sort of just etched with, religious iconography and things like that, and let it collect some rainwater. And then I'm going to take a little pair of silver scissors and snip off some of my mane and drop the whiskers into the water and cast Beard Geary before we retire for the night. And I'll like look up to the stars, even though it's cloudy, and just ask Shagos, will it be wise to arrive quicker despite risking danger to the gloaming arbor? And this is more just like a fun spell because it's like basically a magic 8-ball. So I'm gonna roll a d20 and we'll see what Shagos has to say.
And Gortham will make a symbol to ward off evil omens.
Just gonna keep watch like a sane person.
Yes, as I suspected, the light of Shagos is dim this night. It's better not to tell us now. Auspicious.
So are you setting up a watch for the evening?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will volunteer to take one of the watches in the middle. Although I don't think our party really wears armor, so I don't think it matters.
I wear studded. So
Likewise.
Pride protects me.
Also,
Shagos.
I will take the watch in which we are most likely to be ambushed because I have the alertness feat.
Okay. So, so who's taking the first watch then?
I can do that.
Okay, so you do the
Get
first,
the hard work out of the way.
and then probably Sento would take the middle one.
Right, because I feel like that's when we're most likely to get ambushed.
Mm-hmm. That 1 a.m., 2 a.m. slot.
Right.
And then 3 to 4 would be
I'll take that one.
okay.
guess that leaves me
So
at the end.
that would put that would
Hey, you
put
get to see the
Strong
sun come
waking
up.
up early. All right, so Desatrikos,
Mhm.
your watch comes.
I try to remain as alert as possible.
As you sit on the log, you hear the crackle of the fire. You see all of your companions vaguely damp. There's a little bit of a smell of wet yak. Your Dranther, still hooked up to the cart,
Oh, that's right.
is lying down to rest.
Oh, we would have absolutely untied him and allowed him to kind of rest and rub up against trees and what have you.
Okay. So the Dranther is actually untied from the cart and is currently curled up in this weirdly small disc that you didn't think that such a large creature could consolidate into.
Mhm.
And you just hear this slow, low rumble of breathing.
I smile.
A draconic purr, if you would.
Yeah.
And with the exception of the occasional frog chirp that shocks you, your watch goes by without any incident.
When I wake Senta up, or were you sleeping? Or,
No,
when I go to get Senta, I like pull out like a little tuft of hair that comes loose, and it quickly like what weaves into a bracelet, and say, if you wear this, if anything happens, I'll be alerted.
All right. And I will go ahead and tie that around my wrist. Rest well.
okay.
You too. It was a pleasant time I passed. Puka seemed to be sleeping comfortably over there. He may get hungry or may sleep through the night. We don't know. And then I'll go curl up myself, mimicking Puka, the way cats do. Just get my tail like curled around me into a little ball.
I am like very still while I'm keeping watch, as much listening as watching, like almost gargoyle still.
Okay. So because you have the alertness feat, I'm actually going to roll twice and give you the better result. Okay. So as you remain perched, you still hear the rumbling, you smell the wet yak, You smell a little bit of wet cat that you're not sure if that Desatrikos would have been aware of. And you don't hear anything. You don't see anything. But the hairs on the back of your neck bristle, and you feel like something is just about to reflect in your stony eyes. And you are alert and aware that there are about 5 individuals sneaking upon your campsite, encroaching right now.
All right. I'm gonna do whatever it is I need to do to get Vasatrikos up first, because I've got his like wristband thing.
Just for clarity, that was the friendship bracelet spell, which for the next 24 hours, I know where you are, what your status is, including whether or not you're wounded and how bad. Why do you wear that?
And then I'm going to like carefully rise and just like not to freak anybody out, but start waking them.
Okay.
I'll
So
crouch low and
who do you go to first?
Well,
Actually, roll initiative against me to see
Okay.
how many you can get up before
Ooh.
they come upon you.
nice. The first roll.
15.
15. So you can wake up 2 of your 3 companions before they come upon you.
Okay, does that include using the friendship bracelet to wake up our cat friend over here?
Actually,
wouldn't
no,
really
it does
do
not.
that.
So you
Oh, it
get
doesn't
all of them up.
actually do that?
No, it's
Okay,
just
well,
like
I think
that.
it does, so I wake up the other 2.
Okay. All right. So you can define how you choose to wake them up.
I mean, like just gentle shaking.
Okay.
Like almost like I'm waking you up for a watch. Like there's no alarm. Just, hey, you might want to be conscious.
Okay. So those of you who awaken may make a perception check.
so clearly that was not me, right? Just,
Yes.
Okay, cool. Just trying to make sure.
14.
So are we rolling initiative now, Steven?
think you
You're
said
rolling
perception check?
perception first.
Perception?
Yep.
The first
23.
rolls of the game.
23.
Whoa. Nice.
9.
9. You know what? 9 makes it. So both of you, they were not very stealthy on that second roll. So the both of you are aware of 5 humanoid figures sneaking towards your campsite, and you see 2 glinting blades for sure. You hear this vague shut. And it is initiative for everyone except Desatrikos. You may have initiative at disadvantage.
Oh, okay.
16.
16.
For
Okay.
the record, the alertness feat gives me +5 to my initiative rolls, so I get +8 total. I'm just rolling very poorly.
I'm just rolling well tonight. I've got a 19.
All right.
Yeah, I got a 9.
A 9 again. Man, you love those 9s, don't
My
you?
number.
And 6.
And 6. Okay. All right, Strawn, you are first.
So how close are is the closest person?
So the closest person is about 30 feet away right now from you.
So I'm gonna look him, as close to dead in the face as I can, and I'm gonna be like, "Look, it's not good to rouse people in their sleep. You can flee, or you're gonna be stone dead." And I grab my staff and I cast Thorn Whip at him.
Okay, so that's an attack roll or a save?
Yep. It's an attack.
Okay.
So that's a 25.
25 absolutely hits him.
My rolling well continues. So that is, as I say it, so that's going to be 5 damage.
5 damage. Okay. Oh, dear. So he takes 5 damage and he is hurting. So next up, it is the bandit's turn, actually. He is going to look at you and he is going to actually make an intimidation check.
Oh, I'm not going to be good at this.
Because he was hurt pretty badly all of a sudden.
Hey, what did you hit him with? I missed what you said.
Thorn Whip?
Oh, nice. Classic.
Yeah, it's bad. I said it quite groggily. That's a 7.
7. Okay. So he thinks he can take you as he charges forward and is going to attempt to get you with his short sword.
So I assume I wouldn't have had time to pick up my shield, and I'm not wearing armor. Is that correct?
That is up to you. How do you sleep?
I don't think you can sleep in studded leather armor. It's got to be uncomfortable.
Okay. So yeah, he got an 11 to hit you.
That's going to be a miss.
All right. So he lunges and he just falls in front of you a bit. It's a little dark and they don't have a light outside of your campfire, which is dim light at the moment because it's smoldering.
I would just say I knock it away with my staff.
Nice.
So another one is going to hiss, take down the big one. And so one is going to make an attack roll against Gortham. And that is a Nerdarchy, and I'm not even joking.
Ooh,
So
it's so good.
Gortham, he raises what looks like things from Batman, the bolas.
Mm-hmm.
He throws one at you and you are restrained, but you don't take any damage.
So technically I'm still prone.
Oh, he has disadvantage. You're right.
Not to be that guy.
No, you're right. Okay, it's not a Nerdarchy crit, but it is a 17. Does that hit?
Yeah, 17 definitely hits.
Okay, so you are still restrained, but you don't take any damage. And then another guy is going to come in and try to lunge at you with his sword, and he should have advantage, which is good because that was a 2. Okay, 14.
No.
So he also misses just in this dim light. He misses and stabs past you, and this short sword buries in the ground.
Totally black over my pecs.
And
Really catch it
I
between.
do the sword, yeah, the sword catch.
Pops out.
and another one is going to fire an arrow at Senta. Man, I am rolling with crap now. That is an 11.
That does not hit.
Yeah, I kind of figured it didn't hit.
Boy, I
And-
totally can't. I hate to think of humanoid animalistic creatures as those animals, but that I'm just sleeping through all this is pretty funny to me.
Well, they fired
It
at
just,
you
like,
with
opens an eye.
disadvantage.
They got it.
Does a 12 hit Dacitricos?
Oh yeah.
A 12 hits you. Okay. So an arrow pegs you in the shoulder for 7 damage.
Okay. Wow. Oh, no, I don't have 3,370 hit points.
And that is all of the bandits. Senta, you're up.
I open my mind to the opponents around me, activating Cruel Intent, and target the bandit standing beside Gortham with an attack. I get a dirty 20 to hit. Does that hit?
Yes, that hits. That absolutely hits.
That will be 16 piercing damage, and then I cunning action hide for 14, slipping back into the shadows of the wood.
So describe his grisly demise.
I'm just going to take a step. My silvered dagger passes through the soft flesh of his throat, and then as I am continuing this spinning step away from him, I just am suddenly not there anymore.
Okay. So they are now looking around. You hear shouts and curses. Where's the dwarf? Get the dwarf! And
Hey,
is
that
your
one was
round?
mine.
Is that your round?
Yes.
Okay. So next up, we're at Gortham.
I want to try and I will rage,
Okay, you are raging.
and I will try and burst the bolos.
Okay, that is an athletics check.
Ooh, nice.
Oh no!
Burst those bolos.
That's a 17.
17, that will succeed. They aren't well made. So you actually managed to just lacerate this as you flex.
One of them had a bow, so I'm just gonna run up and get in the face of the one with the bow.
Okay.
And I think that's all I can do.
Okay. So that is your round. Desatrikos, you are prone and have an arrow on your shoulder.
Yeah, and I'm immediately bristled up and just stands up and just looks ferociously. He's pretty large too and is just all fuzzed out. Who's the nearest bandit? Like, which one was nearest to me?
The nearest bandit to you is probably the one that tried to stab Senta.
Okay, then I will.
Or not Senta, excuse me, tried to stab Strawn.
Oh, so he's probably has his back to me because then he'll see like a big shadow overcome him, and then all this shadows of tendrils of fur will try to wrap around him as I try to do beard whip, which is a cantrip, but I'm going to call it main whip. And that's a Nerdarchy 20.
Yes.
So that's 2d4 bludgeoning damage. Not a whole lot.
Okay.
5, and I can, if he's large or small, I can move him up to 10 feet away in any direction. So I'm going to actually just say, like, what kind of murdering scum attacks people in their sleep, and just like lift him straight up, throw him up 10 feet in the air, and just let him fall to the ground.
Okay.
So he would take
his
another
grisly
1d6
demise.
bludgeoning damage from the fall.
Yeah, describe his grisly demise. You got him with the whip. You threw his corpse.
I don't think I would. I don't know. I mean, we were just starting playing it. Like, is it? It's a hard decision to make. We talked about this in session 0. Yeah, I'll just screw it. He shot me while I'm asleep and tried to murder me. Yeah, it just like crushes him and just flings it up into the air and just lands slump at his feet.
Okay.
And then I see Strand there, and I'm like, "Are you all right?"
Fine.
And then I just go and turn towards the other ones with a savage roar.
Okay. And as you let out this savage roar, there's this deeper, more guttural boo that comes out from the forest, and you see this massive hulking ogre that catches the corpse with its mouth and chomps the body in half, blood painting across the ground. And you see these glowing, beady yellow eyes staring at you, these massive tusks jutting out from its underjaw. And the bandits are absolutely terrified. What the hell's with that?
Can I make a proposal to you? Since I just realized that this is a bonus action. Could I use my bonus action right now after that just happened to do a daunting roar just right back in its face?
Sure, absolutely.
Just if you don't want me to, that's fine.
No, absolutely. Go for
that's
it.
only a bonus. That's a wisdom saving throw, DC 14.
Wisdom saving throw.
As it does that, I just go right back in his face.
Okay. It got
That
a
energy.
15 minus 2, which is 13.
Oh, so it is frightened of me until the end of my next turn.
Okay, so it is frightened of you. That's impressive. You have frightened an ogre. And you know that ogres are usually corrupted versions of giants. So this is like a big thing. This is one of the Umber Horde, actually.
Oh, okay.
This is one of the big nasties you don't want to fight. And Strawn, you're up.
Shagos is
So
furiously
is
me.
this with that information, is this like we need to jet, or is like this an ideal situation of like, hey, is this guy out here by himself? Is this a rare opportunity to possibly take something down?
Make an insight check for me.
And yourself.
You can
Would I
alternatively use
think-
investigation.
That's a 22.
22.
Woo!
So you would be aware that this would be a pretty difficult fight for most adventurers. You guys are experienced enough. This is probably an ideal situation for this sort of creature.
Yeah, I really want to fight it.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, comrades, looks like we're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I hope your bandits wore your brown pants.
He will, lean back, look up at the stars, wish that he sees a moon, but even though it's not there, he will howl, and you will hear it chime 8 times as 8 wolves appear out of the darkness. How many humans are left?
There are 3 humans left, actually.
So 3 will appear next to, one on each of them, and the other 5 will come around the ogre, as long as it's
Okay.
within 60 feet.
All right.
Maybe-
The
maybe-
ogre looks around and it just sort of and it looks at you and it just almost wavers just a smidge, Decetricos, as it stares you or tries to stare you down, and then just like and it is the bandit's turn, and your wolves are going to get attacks of opportunity because they are not here to fight the Umber Horde.
Awesome.
Good thing they had the good sense to run.
First attack is a natural 20.
Man.
Not that it's going to help that one.
Second attack is a 21.
Okay.
Third attack is a 23.
What'd you
Dear
do?
God.
Conjure animals? They're done.
Oh.
Yeah. Conjure animals. 8 wolves.
All of them hit.
Right, so
Such a good spell.
it is, and I haven't really done summoning spells, so let's see here. That's 6.
Seems like note to self.
Um,
Add a lot of more monsters.
Like, if you want to control the action economy, conjure animals.
the crit is going to be 17 points of damage.
All right. Describe his grisly demise.
So as the dude turns to flee, the wolf bites at his heel, knocking him over, and he just, descends into the thing's side and makes him stop moving.
And your wolf now has a meal.
Sure. So that's going to be 6 points of damage to the one.
Okay.
If it's still alive, it makes a strength save, DC 11, or be knocked prone. And then,
Natural 20. Man, there's a lot of crits tonight.
and then the third one trying to get away, that is going to be 9 damage.
9.
And again, if he survives, he's got to make the save.
All right. That is a 7.
All right, so he is tripped and knocked prone.
Okay. So he's oh, and he starts clawing at the ground and staring back at the wolf and then at the ogre, and he is just not fully present. And
So one guy
Centaur.
got away.
One of the
Centaur,
bandits
you're
got
up.
away.
All right. So I'm like, at the second I saw this ogre show up, it was like tunnel vision, right? So I'm like coming at this thing from a low angle. I'm gonna try and like swing up onto its back and start stabbing. That's gonna be 23 to hit,
23 will definitely hit.
13 damage.
13 damage. Is this with your silver dagger, you said?
It is.
Okay. So you plunge your dagger into this thing, and for just the briefest moment, you realize, Oh, yeah, this is definitely a member of the Umber Horde because monsters in this setting resist non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, but your blade cuts clean.
Yeah, like I feel like that would probably deter most people, but like I've got the fight adrenaline going on. I'm gonna then proceed to like flip off of the ogre and cunning action hide again
Okay.
I nat 20 to cunning action hide.
Oh, wow. There's a lot of crits in this first
Yeah,
setting.
man.
This is crazy.
Everybody in the
So
chat should go buy these so they can get all those crits.
That's 29
Yes.
to see me.
Sorry.
This thing has a -2 to its wisdom. There is no way it is seeing you. However, when you hide, you realize you have this black Icarus blood that's very almost tarish that is just covering your dagger and your forearms where it's splattered.
I'll worry about cleaning that off later, unless it's like burning or something.
It is actually steaming your armor just a little bit.
Ooh.
Okay, well, I got gloves on them. I'll worry about that later.
Okay.
It's raining.
And Gortham, you are up.
Man, this is pretty so.
All right, so I'm going to charge this creature as I do. So I swing my hips to the left, and the war gong that I have that kind of basically is, it kind of wears it almost like a fanny pack turned backwards. Comes around, so he slams the haft of his axe into it to ring through the night as he lets out a roar, and I will recklessly attack.
Oh.
I'm going to figure eight my axe in front of me. That's a 25 to hit.
Okay, that will definitely hit.
And a not as good, a 14 to hit.
14 will just hit.
All right, that's what I'd like to hear. And that's going to be not bad. 15 points of damage. Plus
15
another
points of damage.
13 points of damage. That's with the silvered axe.
Wow. Okay.
And then I'm going to use my bonus action. Coming in directly behind the figure-eighting axe is my forehead and my horns.
Okay.
For a hammering horns attack. And basically he has to make a strength check, DC 14, be shoved back 10 feet.
Okay. That is a 24.
Yeah, so I hit a wall. Boom.
Okay. So you ram towards this thing and you are not used to something being bigger than you or being able to withstand your hits like this. And this just takes it like a wall. Actually better than a wall. You've smashed through a wall before.
It's a reflective moment.
And we are at the wolves, I believe now.
So is the one human still on the ground?
The one human is still on the ground and clawing for dear life to get away.
It's going to be a 23 to hit.
23. Yes, that definitely hits.
You go.
So 4, 6. That's going to be 8 more points of damage.
8 damage. Okay. Describe his grisly demise.
Yeah, it's all about that soft entry area right between the ribs and the hip, and the wolves just know how to go for it. So the other 2 wolves that had kind of chased off prey or killed prey, they're gonna join the horde and go fight the ogre.
Okay, so as the first one eats in this smattering explosion of blood, the other 2 go for the ogre.
So let's see, 15 to hit.
15 hits.
So it's an 18, 20, 30, 20.
Dirty 20.
22. Natural 20. last attack, 23. So they all hit, one of which is a crit.
Okay. So,
This is a lot of dice.
yes.
Yeah, but you're probably going to half it anyway at the very least.
Oh yeah, because so
I just want you to describe for me how they destroy this ogre.
So I would imagine that they like just begin to like start at the calves and the the upper part or the lower parts of the thigh, just trying to bring this thing down. And seven wolves, even on something as nasty as an ogre, that's a lot of biting. That's a lot of teeth.
Mhm. Okay. So they just destroy, biting and gnashing and chomping. And Senta, you watch as these wolves are biting and gnashing at this ogre. And for a brief moment, your heart skips a beat. You realize they're getting this black tarish blood in their mouths.
Oh,
And you know that Umber Horde creatures corrupt things that come in contact with their blood. And at what starts as vicious roaring and growling and gnashing starts turning into coughing and then whimpering and crunching.
I can do nothing to stop this, but the attempt that is made is Senta just like kind of materializing just behind to the side of Strawn, like grabbing the sleeve of his like coat or whatever it is that he's wearing and being like, call them off. But it's too little too late.
And Strawn, you watch as the wolves, once under control, their bones begin crunching and breaking and reforming. And you see these bipedal creatures start rising up with these elongated arms, and these shards of yellow start jutting up out of their backs, and their eyes start glowing with yellow as their forms emaciate to accommodate for the stretching skin that even begins just a little bit tearing at the arms as the muscles reforming.
So
and you are now facing 7 monsters.
So when Senta said something, would I be able to just stop concentrating then? Because they're not really.
I think you already did.
But they are monsters now. They don't even look canine anymore.
Okay.
They look like something else. And in the briefest moment, you see they look like they want to hunger. And then their gaze flashes to the one wolf that's still there. And you as a druid see this pang, this recognition, and they lope away and run off.
Interesting.
We
Almost
can't.
as though they're horrified.
We cannot just let them go.
Attack of opportunity, perhaps?
Anyone who wants to can make an animal handling check.
I'm pretty good at that.
Absolutely do that.
That is not in my wheelhouse at all.
18.
18.
24.
24.
So, like, I'm in the middle of them. So if they're going to move away, I definitely want to axe one of them.
Oh, yes. Yes, you can absolutely try to do that. However, you know that as part of the order's rituals, you can, in fact, cleanse creatures that have been tainted by the Umber Horde with green fire.
That's right.
That sounds like we got a plan.
And you are, in fact, in the middle of them all. And Gortham, as they have magic in their blood, they are going to be susceptible to your attacks. So, what do you choose to do?
I think Gortham is going to spin his axe in his hands and bring it smashing down on one of the ones trying to get away with the flat
Okay.
for 11 points of damage.
Okay. And Gortham, you have not had this happen too many times. In fact, you may have never had it happen, as you feel the runes that are etched into your fur and skin just with your heartbeat. And you guys see as these green fires ember up just a little bit out of his fur. And his blade ignites with this green fire. And make an attack roll, a single attack roll versus all of them, because they all have the same armor class.
All right. A 22.
22. So you slice through all of these creatures' shoulders. And as you do, the yellow erupts with fire. And you guys watch as the stones that were jutting from their back almost burn away like ash. And you hear that crunching once again resume. And while bloodied, the creatures reform and transform back into wolves. And after looking at one another, whining a little bit, they try to lope away.
This corruption's deep.
And very easily spread.
I think perhaps we should not even waste any more time and just head for Gloaming Arbor.
We don't want to try and do this unrested.
Gortham will spin on his heel, once again slamming the haft into his war gong at his hip there, and raise up his battle axe above his head. Ha ha, my friends, that was glorious!
So it was.
We need to find more of those hulking beasts.
Times are terrible that such men would murder you in your sleep for what? A few gold? Tents?
Ah, fools, we don't even have any tents.
These could have been the self-same bandits. They could certainly use the wisdom of the pride. Hey, did they come from anywhere? Maybe they have a camp nearby. It could be shelter. They won't be using it.
Any of you good at tracking?
One of them did get away.
One of them got away?
Yes. I dare say if we're gonna
Coward.
try and track them, it probably would be better done after we've had a bit more rest and use the light of the dawn.
Perhaps,
If we're
or
going-
perhaps we just chalk it up for
True.
maybe they'll learn from their mistakes.
What's a bandit against? I mean, if creatures such as that, well, not over at the gross ogre corpse, are assaulting Gloaming Arbor.
My thoughts are as follows. I agree most sincerely. We're not going to be any good to them if we don't get any rest. But once we do, it should be a straight shot, because the longer that we wait, the more these things are wreaking havoc on the human population.
Absolutely agree.
People should have took the pride of the Islari's help when it was offered.
We are but a stone's throw away from our goal, so I say we get our rest and prepare to set out first light.
Just that shadow of a smirk again, shaking her head at Strawn, and then like,
Get used to it, everybody. I got a whole list of them.
So all of you take your rest, your long rest. Those of you who are hurt probably sleep just a little bit more, but everybody gets a long rest.
Oh.
and morning comes,
Isn't that dark?
and the four of you set out to Silver Abbey.
Before sleeping, I washed my gloves off in a puddle.
Absolutely. When you do this, you step on some of the grass nearby where the ogre fell, and you see it's blackened and curled and has gotten little barbs that have now grown on it. And these barbs just have the faintest yellow on their tips.
Can I produce? I would have done this before we went to bed, but I would produce flame all over the place.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You can definitely produce flame. When you produce flame, it warps to this greenish hue, and you burn away the corrupted plant life. If you choose, you can burn the ogre.
Oh yeah. I feel bad about what transpired. I as Ted assumed that this is just a manifestation of a spell and they'll be fine. I did not mean to create 7 new horrors for the world.
That was such good exposition, though.
Ted's incompetence, not Strom's, really.
As we're sort of getting, up in the morning and stuff, what are we just making haste for the arbor?
Well, I imagine, a hearty breakfast of whatever we have before we do a hard march.
I'm going to spend an hour ritually using Shagos's power to style my hair into dreadlocks, which will give me advantage on survival checks for the next day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool beans. So
I can keep an eye out for just, when if we're going to be making haste, just be extra alert on the road or off the road.
So how does that look for you when you're casting this ritual, besides your hair actually twisting and coming together into this hairstyle?
Well, let me ask you this. Is it still like rainy and dreary?
No, it's actually a clear, sunny morning that smells of rain.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he has like a little silver etched, looks like, okay, I can't think of the name. Almost like a stained glass thing where there's like an image of like this lion-esque, god figure with little different lenses in. And he sets it on like a little, I forget the name of those little like tripod things so that the light makes a little shadow on the ground and sort of like concentrates on that. And the image, like the main of the image on the thing also changes to that as it sort of just like twists and turns around.
All right. So you feel this power well within you as you feel your hair change and just says, whoom. And it's almost like your senses awaken to the world around you even more so. The birds are louder. The air is clearer with more nuance, and you can hear the earth like you never could before.
I feel it in my heartbeat.
Go ahead and make your survival check.
Oh.
I presume you are the one that's leading the group.
Sure.
My walking speed is only 25, so I'm riding on the Dranther.
Okay. You guys have a cart with the Dranther as well that does have some supplies like your food and campsite materials and whatnot, though your tents were stolen.
23.
23. Okay. You guys travel on the road. At one point, you find a small fork, and the fork branches 2 different directions. There's no sign clearly indicating, but you just know in your heart, Desatrikos, you must take the path to the left. Good adventurers go to the left.
It's the will of Shagos. My fur bristles at the thought of going to the left. I think we should go that way. What do you say, Puka? I'll slap it on the neck.
And your Dranther just sort of,
Good boy.
and as the forest clears, you find yourself cresting a hill that goes into a steeper incline. And below, you see a small town surrounding a larger church-like complex. This would be a church to the Creator, which is a human deity. You would know this particularly because of the prevalence of stained glass, which is a staple for the Creator and their iconography. And just beyond it, you see a vast ocean of forest sprawling with blue and purple leaves, very different from the green forest you're leaving.
Blue and
Mountains.
purple leaves?
Yes,
Ooh.
mountains jut at different points through the forest, almost peeking up like lily pads on a pond. And you can tell that the forest itself must be yet deeper and also more craggy.
Mm.
The leaves of this oceanic forest, as it were, almost glitter and glisten like the surface of water in the sunlight.
Is it natural that it's like that?
You would know that the Gloaming Arbor is renowned for its very thin veil between your world and what is called the wild, where all magic comes from.
Okay. So it's not like, yeah, okay. I was just like,
Right.
It's not like, corrupted with like all purple and,
No,
nice looking.
it's nicely magical. You do know there are deposits of mana, which is an ore of solid magic, and that many more mystical denizens like gnomes make their homes in the Gloaming Arbor.
Certainly a place worth fighting for.
So, do you guys make your way directly to the church, or do you want to explore the town a little bit?
Might be worth the time investment to gather more information.
I'm inclined to agree.
Sure.
Perhaps they have a tavern. Get a drink.
Again,
As
the
you-
mark.
Hey, wait, isn't like just to refresh my memory as a player, isn't like non-human people like eyed with suspicion and stuff like that? Or no? I'm just remembering it.
Generally, especially your people, because your people are kind of renowned for conquering others
Yeah, right.
and enforcing their religious views. But generally speaking, all non-humans are glanced at with sidelong glances, at least in passing, at the best in human society, generally speaking. You probably don't want to tell them you're a mage, but you guys are members of the Order of the Jade Lotus, which, while a crumbling and disrespected order, does have a history that sort of affords you a degree of safety and even rights
right. Yeah,
among the humans.
So basically, whatever, we go where we want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Slap,
Thank
I
you.
slap Dastros on the back across his shoulders. Come, my friend, let's go make some humans uncomfortable.
Indeed. Lead the way. I'll stride after you. I like the idea of that. You're right. They should be uncomfortable around us.
And I look for either a tavern, an inn, a common room.
Okay. As you enter the town, you notice there are holes, like potholes in the cobblestone. What you couldn't see readily at a distance, you now see clearly as damage throughout the town, broken, shattered barrels, or broken windows. The straw roofs of many of the homes have been torn away or burned partially.
Mm.
You see doors broken in or standing on only one hinge. And the people look very downtrodden and tired, to the point that most of them don't even really give you guys much of a hard time, or even many hostile looks as you approach. You have encountered a group of people that have been beaten to their limit.
Looks like these folk have hit rock bottom.
God damn it, Strawn.
Is this whole region under siege? I mean, these look like, like a war took place here. It seems much worse than I anticipated.
Yes, I didn't think we were going to encounter this stuff until we got to the Abbey.
I didn't
Well.
realize it was that bad.
Mayhaps if we deal with this, their lives will be better.
It's the
You
least we could do. I mean, if we're here to fight for the Silver Abbey and the Gloaming Harbor, these people are within that.
Anybody hear that? What is that noise?
I'm gonna like smack one of the bugs that's like buzzing in my ear.
Yeah, the bugs are actually surrounding this pile of corpses you've now passed that was just around the corner. And you see men, women, children indiscriminately just thrown in a pile that's only partially burned, with those on top not yet even touched by flame. You see also among the pile twisted gnomes, you think maybe, but they look so different. Their features are more jutting and prominent, with long chins and cheekbones, with very long ears that have greened and grayed and have like multiple ears shooting off of them. You see these
Goblins, you
fangs
reckon?
coming out. I'm sorry?
Goblins, you reckon?
Mhm.
Is there a way to identify, whether or not these things are, warped and twisted umbral creatures, or if they're something else?
I think goblins are.
The goblins are,
They're like an
corrupted
established crypt. Yeah.
yeah, they are corrupted gnomes, and they have that black Icarus blood. And you see that many of the dead humans have wounds that look like they came from human weapons, with this black Icarus blood near their mouths or ears or different things like that.
Poison?
So we know that this should be set alight, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes, but perhaps we should let someone know, or that creator priest.
I'm sure they already know someone stacked the bodies.
Well, I know. I mean, just we're strangers walking in a town burning. But they must be cleansed. I mean,
Who else could we be?
If there are bugs, we know bugs feast upon the dead. Do we want umbral bugs running around as well?
No. Bugs feast upon the dead and then they bite other people.
I only meant strangers lighting a pile of corpses on fire out of the blue might startle these people.
I'll go find someone to let them know you take care of this, and I'm gonna go off and look for whoever looks like they're in charge of what's going on around here.
Okay. You very quickly find a woman wearing a bright crimson robe with a white and gold, I'm trying to think of the word, habit with black accents. And she has this short cropped black hair, and she looks like she's been at something all night long with these heavy bags under her eyes. You would recognize the pendant that she wears as a symbol of the creator. And the fact that she wears this pendant would indicate her as a cleric, while not directly in charge of the church, a sort of prisoner of position of the church who possesses magic.
Ma'am?
Yes.
We've come on behalf of the Jade Lotus. You've got a pile of bodies over there. Would you mind too terribly if we helped to take care of that?
No, please. Thank you for coming. We didn't expect you to be here so quickly. You didn't encounter any trouble on the way, did you?
Nothing we couldn't handle.
Oh, good. My name is Lucy.
Lucy, I'm Senta.
Nice to meet you.
Sure that my friends prefer to introduce themselves. I went ahead and told them to get started. I hope you don't mind. But
of course not.
So at about that time, you see the green flame beginning to, work its way around the pile of bodies as I just keep casting until there's no more black ichor.
Okay. So you're starting to gather a small crowd around you as you do this. Children oohing and awing over the green fire, and occasional mumbles of, I thought they killed it. I thought it was gone. I thought it was dead. Is that what they did to it?
oh geez. So you're all having trouble with some monsters.
Yes, nightly these days. We've lost nearly half the town.
Well, that won't do it all. And it looks like we ought not linger any longer than absolutely necessary. And I'll like motion her over and like take her over to where my comrades are practicing safe pyromania.
Okay. Hello. Thank you for coming. My name is Lucy. I'm the local cleric of the church.
Looks like you have your hands quite full.
Yes, very full these days.
Is there no
With-
aid from the Abbey?
Well, I am part of the Abbey. This is the Abbey after a fashion. Silver Abbey is the town.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was me as a player mistaken. I thought it was like a place.
Oh, no,
further
you're good.
ahead.
The Abbey proper is over by the way where the chapel is. It is hallowed ground, so we've thankfully been able to pull most of the villagers in these nights now that there are so few to protect.
Where do the creatures come from?
From sin, obviously. The
No,
three
what
great
direction
sins.
do the creatures come from?
Oh, everywhere. From below, but everywhere.
So there's not like a tunnel or a cave or a basement.
Well, and she sort of takes several seconds, it turns into a couple minutes pause. And then she looks to all of you and then leans into Strawn. Could the four of us speak more privately?
That would be just fine. Is there a place that you would feel comfortable speaking?
Well, that, and she points to one of the corpses in the pile, was the pub keeper, and now his building lies dormant for the time being. It's half destroyed, but we can meet there.
Oh, I'll like lead the way and march that direction.
Imagine
Okay.
solemnly the fact that the pub is not in service.
We'll see about that.
I am going to make a PSA as we head out. Do not touch the fire. Let this burn itself out. And then I'm gonna go. Like just
Okay.
awkwardly cut that short and walk off.
Okay.
Charisma is my dump stat.
I'll awkwardly PS her and do some Jade Lotus PR though too, and tell the people like, we understand these times are tough, but the Order of the Jade Lotus is watching out for you, and we'll do what we can.
You get a few thank yous. A couple of them glare at you as though it's almost a mockery, but you get some thank yous. And you get a couple of the children that think that your fur looks really cool.
Make it like kind of curl around like their finger, like just tender out a little bit.
You
To
see this
amuse
little
them.
boy that he tells his mom, I want to be one of those when I grow up. And she just sort of guides him away.
Kids are so pure.
Shagos be with you, and I'll go catch up with them.
Is there still a door on the tavern?
The door is hanging on one hinge.
All right.
Not
so
anymore. It's
not-
not.
I go to open it and it kind of just flies off the one hinge that's left. I survey the room. Even if I have to light my axe to kind of give me some light in here, and hold it up. And I'm looking at the far side of the bar to see if there's any casks or bottles of liquor that are intact.
There are several casks that are still intact, and you don't really need to light anything because there's a gaping hole in the roof
Perfect.
that lets in plenty of sunlight.
He marches over to the bar, vaults over it, and grabs one of the casks and basically just starts drinking from it.
Okay. The
Oh.
priestess just sort of like stares for a moment and then leans over to Senta. Is your friend all right? Does he usually do that?
Yes.
Oh, so as
I see.
Strawn walks in and sees Grotham, Oh, I guess the tavern is open. He'll walk over to wherever, a booth is and, gesture for everyone to kind of sit.
And she sits, and after a moment, she looks to Gortham. I don't mean to preach. Creator knows it's not my place, but never the place of a mage. Yet, you know that the three terrible sins are hatred and hubris and hunger.
Have you seen the size of him?
I'm thirsty, not hungry.
Right. Very, very good then. Yes. So at any rate, where were we? So we don't know where the creatures are coming from, but what's strangest, they seem to come from within our homes, within our places of business, within where we feel safest.
Well,
They break through the floors.
You do know of the transformative powers of these creatures, right?
Yes, that's why we've had to put out some of our own.
Why would you have not set alight the bodies? Why would you allow them to gather?
Did you
Correct.
see that they tried?
Normal fire doesn't take well. The green flame can cleanse it, though.
And you do not have this ability, even though you are a cleric?
Only the Order of the Jade Lotus possesses the power of the green flame. We as clerics possess the holy flame of whatever deity has chosen fit to give us our magic. Yet, and she just sort of like flicks at it a little bit, I only have the power of the Creator. Some, like me, can forge items into magic, much like the artificers do. Some possess the power to heal the body itself. That's more my realm of ability. But generally speaking, whatever powers we manifest marks us. And the green flame has never chosen anyone that was not part of your order.
It's not aware that it was.
As she's talking, I'm looking at the floor for holes.
Yep,
You-
same.
You see a gaping hole in the middle of the common room and several smaller holes.
Just gonna like elbow Grotham and be like, hey, we should like to go over there and like
I'm
jump
gonna
down
go
and
over
check
to
it
the
out.
hole and
Yeah.
light the axe and just drop through the hole.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Lucy, it's time to do what we do. It seems.
okay. So you guys all drop down. Go ahead and give me an acrobatics or athletics check.
I
your
didn't mean to
choice.
steal the thing. I was just.
Before.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
Before Strawn were to go ahead and jump in, he would say something to her of, could someone look after our cart and Dranther?
Oh, that's right.
It's a good thing one of us is responsible.
Yeah.
Oh,
I am
the druid.
as the highest animal animal. So someone's got to
Druid,
be
you're in charge of animals.
yes, I can absolutely make sure that someone attends your mount and your cart. That should be no issue. Be careful and here. And she reaches into a belt pouch and she hands you, she looks around and then hands you this flask. It contains this shimmering red liquid.
Okay.
It's kind of viscous and syrupy. You would recognize it as a healing potion.
Okay. I'm familiar as I have a couple.
Be careful and stay aware. We don't know where these creatures come from or where they go at night.
I appreciate it. We will. I apologize, but my companions are sometimes a bit impetuous,
It's
impulsive, if you will. And he'll go over and begin hiking down with everyone else.
All right.
Acrobatics or athletics?
Yep. Everyone make an athletics or acrobatics check. Desatricos, you can have
24.
advantage because you have your mane that can work like a rope.
oh, okay.
16.
Doing athletics. Ooh,
Okay.
dirty 20.
Dirty 20, 16. What did Senta get? I'm sorry.
24.
24.
And 17 acrobatics.
17. All right. So you guys land on a stone floor, actually, and your boot steps and hooves and various other
Toe
accoutrements
beans.
rattle and dance off these walls of this long tunnel that goes two directions. And you see down the way a brazier that is already lit.
Something that
Earth,
existed
would there be
before Silver Abbey was built.
17 to hide.
17 to hide. Yeah, you can just slink into the shadows a little bit.
Go check that out.
You go check it out. You come upon a fire, and when you approach, you realize this fire is even a little more orange and yellow than you would normally expect it to be. Almost pyrotechnic in nature. And the brazier is hot, like it's been burning for a long time, yet the wood doesn't look like it's being consumed.
Would I know anything about that from my study of religion?
Make an arcana or religion check, your choice.
It is the same.
-2.
It's a 14.
Okay. So you know that this effect, this phenomenon is usually reserved for what is called wildfire. That's wild with a Y instead of an I. And it is usually associated with areas that have a very thin veil between the wild and the material world, especially when the fire is unnaturally colored or when the fire is not consuming the thing that's supposedly fueling it.
Hey, one of you magic types know if these abominations can creep into the wild?
Would we know such a thing?
You can go ahead and give me a religion check if you want.
Religion. I'm not all that great at religion. D20 has finally failed me. 6.
6. It's hard to say. It's definitely something that is rumored or like a superstition. But yes, Senta.
Can I try to green flame over this brazier?
Sure.
Yeah. We could try to just eat it with our fire instead.
When you do, the fire doesn't die or get beat back or anything. It just warps to a green hue.
Cool.
Does it stay that way?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's ours now.
yeah.
Moving on down the road.
And you look down, there's just like thousands of them. Well, all right.
So yeah, you guys are standing in a tunnel that goes two directions. And you would notice that the brazier has illuminated the tunnel in such a way that you see the architecture mirrors a lot of the architecture that makes up the chapel. It's got stone pillars. It's got archways that sort of come together to hold up and support the tunnel itself.
Stephen, speaking of stone, may I stone cunning?
Yes, you may.
Oh. 26.
26. This was definitely built by the church. And what's more, you would recognize that you are in a catacomb.
And I'm going to mention this as we're going along.
So the
Okay.
church is in league with these abominations?
Not necessarily. It is absolutely possible that they forgot to maintain these tunnels and that they've broken in somewhere in them, and that this is only the vector that they're using to get into the buildings up there.
Probably built long ago and forgotten, unused, and creatures of evil and darkness have used that which has been forgotten to make things harder on those above.
You do recognize that the tunnel is big enough, it could hold even a couple ogres at its width. And height-wise, it definitely has enough room for an ogre.
So this is all
So
beneath the ground, right?
this is all underground right now. And if you go much further,
Santa,
you'll need
was
a
it
light.
built under here, Santa? Or did it fall below? I mean, is this...
Oh, catacombs are generally built underground to begin with.
Okay.
I bet they could fit a few ogres in here. Let's hope. Hey, Strawn, you mind doing the fire thing?
To produce some light, sure.
Yes.
Oh, wasn't there more of those? Is it dark? I thought there was like braziers all over the place. Or like
There's
so
one brazier.
there's
There's
just
this
the
one
one.
brazier.
Okay.
And Senta, because you have such good stone cunning, you do see that there are markings along the floor that seem to be quoting sacred text from whatever the creator's sacred text would be. It seems like you're not very familiar with human religion, but you are definitely aware that this has the cadence of being something that you might chant in a ceremony or something.
Okay.
Talking about life and death and the passage of time and rebirth and things like that.
Well, shall we? And I begin marching. I guess I wanna just look for if there's any sign of passage.
So you do definitely see footsteps and footprints that are everywhere in the dust. And most of them are non-human in nature. Most of them are what you would imagine are goblins or ogres. There are signs, and the goblins have hand and foot markings along the walls and along the ceilings because they can climb those like spiders. And as you progress toward where underneath the church would be, you come to a stairway that takes you down. And as you go down the stairway, you realize the stairway widens until its base is actually much wider. And where you would imagine is probably the courtyard of the chapel, there is this big open space with another brazier. And this brazier has another orange yellow light, but it's more orange or yellow than orange. And there are pillars in a circle surrounding the brazier. So the brazier is actually in the center of the room. And it looks like there's statuary off beyond the cast of light. And there's another tunnel that goes even deeper still.
I would absolutely like to investigate the statues.
Okay. So when you go and approach the statuary, you see the names of patron saints that you would recognize from teachings from childhood. Being a druid, I don't know if you were raised a druid or if you joined the druids later in life, but that would affect your perception of each of these figures.
I would say probably later in life.
Okay. So you were raised that these people were those who helped to subjugate the evils of magic and brought the clerics into the orders, the religious circles of what is called the Octheon, the 8 different gods that all have very distinct separate places of worship that are each very different in design. You know that the creators is largely composed of like hospitals and ritual centers of remembrance for the dead, for those who have passed on in their lives, and for the hope of eventual reincarnation into something better, a hope that died away with the last of the phoenixes.
So I'd imagine I'd go over and I just kind of touch the stone, see what it's made of, see how it's weathered, and as my hand kind of caresses the lizard, kind of scurries down my shoulder, and I quickly have to like move my arm before it gets onto the statue. He already knows of Lys's intent. It's like, no, I don't think these ones are for you.
Mm-hmm. They are composed mostly of marble. The bases are gilded, but of a lesser stone. And none of them have gemstones anywhere on them. Each one is in a very defined pose that is both vaguely pious, but also very regal looking. Those who are more aggressive seem to be holding weapons, but at their side and prominently displayed. Or those who maybe would have been known for their peace and their giving to the poor would have had like a coin in their hand and maybe a bag of food or things like that.
This is, I would say, rather odd for them to be down here, cast away, as opposed to up in the light where they can be revered.
Maybe they stole their religion from the dwarves.
Isn't this whole complex a catacombs?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but I'm not the one who tends to pay much by the gods. I'm nothing against them. It's just this almost seems like a waste. Be down here, unaware of, left, forgotten.
Like it's not, it wasn't always like this. I'm gonna go ahead and take the brazier in this room too.
Okay. So you warp it green, easily done. And when you do, it gets just the faintest bit brighter. You see that the other continuing tunnel down the way has a branching path as soon as you cross the threshold. One goes up, the other goes down. But both are still very large. Large enough for at least one ogre to fit through.
I think we should go down.
Which way looks like it's seen the most recent traffic?
The way down.
Well, if we can follow the green lights, we won't get lost and we'll be able to find our way back out the way we came. So I'm down with continuing to go down.
Okay. So you continue the path down and you find yourselves in a hallway full of crypts. And what's noteworthy here is that many of the crypts and catacombs that have been labeled and numbered seem to be crumbling or have holes in them. It looks like things may have broken out of here.
Do you even have any dates? Like how old are these? Are these like thousands of years old, hundreds, recent? Is it like super cobwebby in here and like nobody's been here in a long, long, long time? Or I mean, is that stuff we do like basically prior to like this problem in the town? Like, did they come down here to like bury their dead and stuff like that on the reg?
You would gather that they did come down here to bury their dead.
Okay.
That is
This is a recent
what
problem.
happens.
Okay.
This is a place where their dead are often buried. and usually with prayers inscribed on the door itself, the stone door. But the fact that there are things that are broken out also, it's not a great sign, not a great look.
So you think they came in here to take the bodies?
No, I think they took over the bodies. Like the wolves.
Yeah, exactly.
Terrible.
But you know what that means.
Thought they
More things to
twisted
re-kill.
life. Can they twist death as well as life?
Guess we're gonna find out.
We'll just have to re-kill them, that's all.
Yeah.
It's good. I was afraid it was going to be an unfair fight.
And you guys hear what sounds like a door opening and closing from deeper within.
Well, that sounds like the direction we should go in. Let's go see who's a knocking.
How about we have Senta get a little looky-loo first?
Hide check.
Hide check. Go for it. Stealth.
27.
27.
I keep forgetting how good rogues are at skill stuff.
Yes, they are very good at skill stuff, in fact. So you go up ahead scouting, I presume?
Mhm.
Okay, you go up scouting and you navigate through the labyrinth, remembering where you heard this door, and it doesn't take you long at all to find this big set of double doors. And it has a strange symbol that doesn't look like one you've ever seen or known before. It looks almost like your order symbol, actually, in that it looks vaguely like a flower. But whereas your flower looks almost like a fire, this flower looks distinctly more like an open petaled mouth.
Well, that doesn't look great. I'm gonna grab like a piece of parchment and a charcoal and get a rubbing of that
Mm-hmm.
and stow it. And I'll come back to report.
Okay.
Show them the thing.
It's rather odd. What did you see or hear below? Was it just this?
I'll give the whole report of like everything I experienced.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now let's go kill it.
About the killing.
Okay, you guys approach these double doors that are massive, and you readily notice, Senta, you first because you've already been here and you have dark vision, that the dust where this door is on the floor has been swept away as though both have been opened wide recently.
It's a bit unsettling.
Well, clearly they open, so I'll grab them and try and
Okay, go ahead and make an athletics check for me.
All right. That's not great. That's an 8.
8. Okay. We do start with inspiration, so you can do that, or you can do something else. So does
You know
anyone
what?
else have
I
an
will
idea?
use the inspiration
Okay.
because I want these doors open. Oh, that's gonna be better. Dirty 20.
Yep. So you heft and pull, and the doors open up. And you see that the floor beyond is unpaved and unlit.
Perhaps if they would have locked this, they would have had less problems.
As you walk through the threshold, you see carvings on the walls. Things involving the world being destroyed. You see woven throughout these images of destruction and mayhem and death, this almost serpentine-like form. And as you come to a corner, you see that the serpent opens up into a petaled mouth that seems to be devouring the planet itself. And there is now a branching path to the left and to the right.
So I'm kind of like walking around, walking down the tunnel at this serpent. You ever have serpent? Tastes like chicken, you know? And I head towards the left, because good adventurers go to the left.
All right.
I have to imagine
So-
it's a shade more gamey.
You
little bit
travel
more
to the
work
left.
to-
Wait, so none of us recognize its symbol as like another order?
Anyone who wants to can make a religion check.
Oh, I'll give it a shot. I am an
I
acolyte.
don't think I'm proficient in that.
I am. Nerd Accu 22.
You immediately recognize that the serpent is an ancient god, an old god called Crom. And you know that he is considered the eater of the world. Many churches in various religions consider him the embodiment of hunger itself.
Hmm.
You would know that he's also, because you got a natural 20, you would know that he is often tied to yellow mana and undead. And the Umber Horde are also tied to yellow and the undead.
Well,
Sounds like a big coincidence there.
I think I want to get the rest of those braziers and make sure that they're all green before the sun sets.
Yeah, and hopefully find whoever made them yellow flames and put the green flame to them as well.
Lofty goals.
So are you guys going forward or going back the other way or staying where
Forward.
you are?
Oh yeah, I was headed forward.
Onward.
All right. Forward. You continue forward and you come to a set of double doors once again. These seem to be locked when you try to open them.
I
Oh,
traveled with
I
Senta
can fix
before.
that.
Traveled with Senta before. Once I realized they're locked. Senta, can you do the thing?
I certainly can.
Or it's gonna get very loud in here.
19.
19. Okay, I need you to make an investigation roll
Okay.
as you start to pick the lock.
Even being
Wish me
nice.
luck. 12.
12. Okay. So
I am good at some things.
you're picking the lock. And as you begin picking it, you feel a click. And all of a sudden, this yellow fire erupts from the lock. As you, Decitricos, oh my gosh, and Gortham, you especially would recognize these arcane sigils just flash all over the door in a giant puzzle that erupts with yellow fire. And I need you to make a dexterity save, Senta, please and thank you.
Well, fortunately, that is my best saving throw.
Mhm.
Natch.
25.
25. So you only take 7 points of fire damage.
Can I uncanny dodge that?
You can uncanny dodge that.
Okay.
So yeah, this fire blasts at you and you reflexively dodge and then do a quick little tumble and avoid the brunt of those yellow flames.
Avoid that brunt.
So just so everyone's aware, there's fire.
See that?
Yep, saw that.
And Gortham, when that fire erupts, if you like, you can capture some of it.
I will attempt to capture it then.
Okay.
Believe that's
So,
a con save for me.
yeah.
So, as a mage slayer, now this technically isn't a creature, but when a creature casts a spell within 5 feet of me, I get advantage on my saves.
Mm-hmm. I will say sure. Because this is a situation where you could conceivably, logically presume that there would be a trap.
I don't think it's going to matter because that's a 13.
A 13.
Yeah.
So
I rolled really badly.
You take
What are
the
you gonna do,
fire
attack
into
Pam?
yourself. And when you do, you guys watch as all of his tattoos illuminate yellow. Make a charisma save.
Oh,
We have to kill him.
you're probably going to have to kill me.
I'm
All right,
just
that is a
oh,
20.
Barbarian.
That is a
20.
20. That's a natural 20 because I rolled a natural 20 and I have no bonuses to that save.
I
Okay.
am like already standing here with green fire in my hand, getting ready to cleanse our friend.
Burn the corrupted one.
Gortham, everything goes black. And you hear this voice rumble in the recesses of your mind and the pit of your stomach. Hunger. Eat. Feast. And through sheer force of will alone and the fact that you recognize this is magic and your inherent distrust of magic, you shake it off and resist the compulsion to try to eat your friends.
I scream, "No! I'm thirsty!"
My shadows.
There's a little part of him is like, well, what if I start with the druid?
And make another constitution saving throw.
Okay, a lot of saving throws going on here.
Yep.
I thought, that's a 27 because I rolled a 20.
Okay. So
Another natural 20. Damn it.
you not only tame this and have full charges for your magical ability, for your spell eater feature, you also gain a feat.
Oh.
Crom's Bane. This is a custom feat I will build for you in D&D Beyond after the session. But what it does is you have advantage on saving throws imposed by magic related to Crom.
That's super specific. Awesome.
And you have your tattoos are still glowing yellow, but you've tamed whatever this is through your sheer force of will and who you are. And you are aware that you ate the fire out of that trap and the trap is functionally disarmed.
Yeah, so as my tattoos kind of blaze and burn, it kind of moves up into my horns, and there's actually little runes that light up along that appear to be carved in the horns themselves that couldn't actually be seen before.
Like a new one.
No, not necessarily new. Just they're not generally visible.
Oh, it only when it lights up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Are you well, Gortham?
I feel great. Let us find some of these abominations and put them to an end. I have something for them.
Making a mental note to keep an eye on him, but otherwise on board with this plan.
Just to be fair, it's not us, right?
What about you?
You're not delivering us to them. I don't know if
Don't
we've
be
seen that
foolish.
Hello.
Why on earth would I do
Oh,
such a
'cause-
thing?
Not sure that we've seen your tattoos glow yellow.
It depends on the magic I eat. They all taste different.
I'll give him a once over, just make sure I trust what he's got to say. And then, all right, I guess we can finish opening the door.
Okay. All right. So Senta, you can just pick the lock now.
Yeah.
So you pick it with ease, and you can open this one much easier than the other. So you just open the doors, and you see you are in a cylindrical room now. And within the cylindrical room, there are like layers that have built up almost like a serpent upwards along the cylinder, carved into the stone itself. And you see yellow, shimmering, glowing gemstones at key points, which you specifically, Senta, would recognize readily as yellow or corrupted yellow mana. In the middle of the room is a complex circle of arcane sigils and runes. And Decitricos, you would be aware that there are 13 different sigils, and one of them looks identical to one used by mages of the Pride.
Just one of them, though?
Just one of them. Senta, you recognize that another of the sigils looks like a sigil that dwarves use as mages.
We'll point this out as well.
Strawn, there's a human one. Gortham, there's one for the Minotaurs. And each of these are at key locations within the circle itself, within its geometry. The circle is not a light, it's simply carved there. The only light in this room is coming from the yellow stones all over the walls that's casting everything in this sickly golden hue. The atmosphere ripples ever so faintly, almost as though you were underwater at times, and you see shadows flickering in your periphery. The entire room gives you a sense of unease, however you choose to respond to that as your own.
Why does this human catacomb have this shrine to so many gods?
The sigils are they're for mages. They're not religious, right?
The sigils are for mages, correct?
Oh.
The taint of so much magic in one place.
It does make me uneasy.
Makes me angry.
Senta?
What's in that? Wait, real quick. So the room is empty. The carvings along the wall,
Mhm.
or there's like a pillar in the middle with the thing around it.
So the wall itself is what looks like it's almost made up of like a snake's body, but
Yeah,
carved into the stone with yellow monocrystals inset within the wall. And the circle is in the middle of the room. And
But there's nothing like in that, like not a
The
furniture.
monocrystals are what's giving
Right.
off the yellow light.
yes.
I'm gonna
And,
walk to the center of the room and kind of spin around, looking up with my axe at the ready, like a slow turn, trying to see everything. And I just want to see if I can see the ceiling.
you can. And when you look up, you feel a cold drip on your nose from high above.
So there has been a suggestion made in the chat that I think is a good idea. I want to try green fire on the mana crystals.
I was going to say the same thing.
Okay, so there's a lot of things happening here. So right around the time that you two, both of you, because Strawn is associated with stone and Senta has stone cunning, both of you notice that this place seems to be like it's much older than the place that was built, the catacombs. This is older than the catacombs. And it seems almost like this older place is some sort of shrine, maybe temple. As you're going to burn the mana with green to see what will happen, Desatrikos, you see the drip happen on Gortham's snout as blood trickles down his nose from above.
What color is it?
It's red.
Okay.
And that's when Desatrikos will notice that the carving is so readily apparent in the floor because the grooves are filled with this steady drip of blood.
I would tell you to move away, but I think you're right where you'd like to be, Gortham.
Senta, you take one side, Strawn takes the other as you ignite the green flame through the yellow mana. I need both of you to give me an Arcana roll.
I'm good at some things. This isn't one of them.
Got a 4 to Arcana.
You can roll nature instead if you want because you're a druid.
13.
23.
23 and 13.
And we average them.
So, Senta, you ignite some of the yellow mana and it feels almost like it's repulsed, like a magnet, repulsed back into you. And you feel a shudder, almost like an unwelcomeness, like this place is alive. Strawn, you force the fire into the yellow and it ignites ever so briefly with green. And then once again repulses back into you. And you feel it's almost like it was an outsideness that was never welcome here to begin with. And as you guys are standing there, the doors close to the room that you're in.
I'd say I almost have to like jump out of the way because I really hadn't moved into the room all the way. So just
then
like
you in fact would notice that someone
I was like
behind
inside,
you,
but they would like right behind my back.
yeah. So just as the doors are closing on you, you see that a figure with a raised hand at the end of the hallway behind you has somehow caused the doors to magically close.
We're not
And
alone.
as the doors close, the sigil beneath Gortham ignites with yellow, and the red blood warps to black.
Dwarven swears.
And a column of yellow shoots, enveloping Gortham entirely as it slowly expands, coming towards the rest of you. And for a moment, it's really, really hot. And then it's icy cold. You feel pinpricks all over your body, but then instead of hurting, they feel like an exhilarating rush. And as if you surge under a waterfall and you feel your entire chest just implode briefly, you find yourselves now in the middle of an Arctic mountainous wasteland that looks very similar to the mountains where you call home.
Who?
And you have these strong indentations. The order is based here. You have these deep indentations in the snow from where you landed as you were spit out from what looks like a circular portal right at the top of a mountain. It's shifting from red to yellow and red to yellow, thrumming almost like a heartbeat. And in the distance, you hear a loud roar followed by screams and shouts and bells. And you turn around to see the keep where your order is stationed primarily is currently enveloped in smoke and fire. And you see a large worm-like creature with a petaled mouth rise up from the middle of it and unleash a roar as its mouth opens to reveal rows upon rows of needle-like teeth. And that's where we're going to call it tonight.
Steven. What is it with you and the cliffhangers?
I love my cliffhangers.
I know you do.
I love your cliffhangers too. That was awesome. I can't wait to jump into that thing's mouth. So I want to thank everyone for hanging out with us for our first sessions of Ashes of Ardor with our amazing Dungeon Master, Steven Partridge. As always, there's links in the description to follow Robin and Steven throughout the interwebs. You'll find some other things in there like credits for things that were used in the videos and the elements, as well as some other stuff that you can go click on. But until we do this again, I want to thank everyone and tell everyone to stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
Nerdy.